Fashion, jewelry, or beauty brand founders and owners, here is how to turn your email marketing channel into your most profitable source of revenue for Q4 without your emails ending up in the spam folder, without having to use cheap designs, and without having to rely on discounts. But first, I want to introduce myself and tell you what I do. So, I am the founder of Persona eMarketing. We are a leading boutique email agency based in Toronto, Canada. We specialize in scaling fashion, jewelry, and beauty brands with emails. We were established in 2020, and since then, we have generated well over 20 million in revenue for our clients using emails. We've helped hundreds of fashion, jewelry, and beauty brands at 30% extra monthly recurring revenue with 70% email open rates by implementing this. Here are some of our case studies. So for this brand, India Trend, we were able to get 90% average email open rates for them. In the beginning, they were looking at 9%, 11%, at the very best 42% email open rates. And after 3 months, the email list has grown and we are getting 90% plus email open rates consistently. This is another brand, Lady Black Tie. So we were able to achieve almost 35% extra revenue for them month after month. So this is from October 1 to December 31st. And these were some of the designs that we made for them. This is a brand out of New York, Susanna Chow. We were able to get 3.3% plus email click rates for them. They have a pretty high average order value. It's a luxury brand. So the point I'm really trying to drive here is that whether you are a luxury brand with a super high average order value or a brand that has an average order value of, let's just say, around 100, selling dresses or coats or jewelry or beauty products, the results essentially speak for themselves. Now, at this point, you might be wondering what the approach is that we use, and it is called the abstract email design approach. And this is the exact same approach that top brands in your industry are consistently using. These are some of the major brands that use the abstract email design approach. I'm talking huge brands like Zara, Aritzia, Mejuri, Rode, House of CB. But before I get into this, I want to be very clear on who this is for so we don't waste each other's time. This is for you if you are a fashion, jewelry, or beauty brand founder or owner doing at least 60K per month in revenue, has a minimum average order value of $100, and a minimum 10,000 email list. So list size should be at least 10,000. This won't apply to you if your brand is still in its early growth stage, does not have consistent sales, so like I mentioned, above 60K per month, or lacks the infrastructure required to meet increased demand. You can still watch this, as you will end up learning a proven email approach you can eventually use for your brand, but the strategies we share are made to deliver impact instantly to brands that are already established and ready to scale, so this is fully catered to them. So you might be asking at this point, how is this even possible to make email profitable and generate 30% monthly recurring revenue without your emails ending up in spam, without having to send out garbage designs, and without having to use discounts? And the answer lies in the abstract email design approach. But before we talk more about this, I want to address the top 4 common misconceptions and mistakes that I have seen after working with hundreds of fashion, jewelry, and beauty brands. The first one is that email is dead. Now, when you look at the data, 61% of consumers have made a purchase online directly because of an email. And this is a screenshot from our dashboards for one of our clients showing over 38% revenue attributed to email alone. The next misconception that people usually have is that all mail is just junk mail, which means that email will end up in spam anyways. So why should I even bother sending out any email in the first place? So the truth is that 94% of consumers check their email every day, and our results have shown over 90% average email open rates, which means that if you have good deliverability and your emails are either ending up in the inbox or promotional tab, then your emails will be opened consistently by most of your email list. The third misconception that brands usually have is that emailing customers will annoy them. In reality, over 60% of consumers prefer brands to contact them via email. And again, going back to our case study from before, this was a brand that was experiencing super low email open rates, usually 9%, 11%. On a rare occasion, they would get something over 42%. And then after 3 months of working with us, we noticed that when we increased the frequency and kept sending out super high quality value contact using the abstract email design approach, that we were able to get over 90% email open rates consistently. So what this means is that customers actually enjoy opening emails if you are sending out open worthy emails in the first place. And finally, the fourth misconception is that emails only work when you give big discounts. Truth is, 78% of consumers say they're highly likely to engage with personalized emails. Personalized emails do not need to include a discount. And for some context, I want to show you two different emails. This one included a 15% off discount code at the very top of the email, and it resulted in 16 orders, around $2,948 in revenue. This email did not offer a single discount, and it was able to generate 25 orders, $3,618 in revenue. So if your email is offering value, it can make up for a discount code. Because in reality, when emails are made with the abstract email design approach, you won't need to rely on discounts, end up in spam, send ugly emails, or watch your emails underperform. To fully understand our approach, let's begin by looking at emails that are not working. What's not working is when you have a cover and grid every single time you send out an email. These are predictable and very easily ignored, meaning that if you send out an email with this layout structure every single time, your customers know exactly what you have just sent them, and therefore they have no curiosity buildup or reason to open your email. You cannot have any sort of storytelling flow with this layout or structure there, and therefore there will be no emotional engagement, which is required to make your emails convert. And finally, you will not be able to achieve any sort of pattern interruption with this approach. I will go into what this pattern interruption concept is in just a bit. But we recently actually had the opportunity to redesign emails from Mirror Palace. This is a women's fashion brand based in New York City. And here are some of the before and after. So before, their emails were very randomized. They had these beautiful images of the models in the email, but there wasn't much branding to the email, and we redesigned it so that it looked like an email that someone would get from Mirror Palace and instantly recognize Mirror Palace without having to read the email sender name or see the logo. And this is what this approach really allows you to do. It allows you to have a branding to your emails. So what exactly is the abstract email design approach? This is essentially when your email starts off with a eye-catchy cover followed by a series of blocks, each different from each other, as opposed to having a cover followed by a boring grid of identical product rows. It's almost like taking each product image and stretching it out and repurposing it into its own block, visualizing it differently. And we repeat this process until a good number of products has been shown. So what do I mean by blocks? A block can essentially be a grid of images when you want to show multiple product images at once. Maybe they're related somehow in terms of the silhouette, the fabric. Another block would be a outfit focused block where you are trying to curate an outfit. Another one would be a overlap of a model with another image of that same model showing another angle of the product. So for example, the front and the back. And then the last one that I have in this example slide is a photo and copy block. So you can have the model image or the product image, and then on the other side you would have a bunch of copy with your CTA. These are just 4 examples of blocks. There are hundreds and thousands of other ones, and to create them obviously requires innovation. Now I want to talk about the 5 key traits of an abstract email so that you at least have some sort of criteria to refer to when you are deciding whether or not your email is abstract enough or not. The first thing you want to make sure you have is an incredible eye-catchy cover. This is the first thing that your customer will see when they open up your email, so you want to make sure that it is worthy of grabbing their attention, holding it, and convincing them to either click on the CTA that should be big enough in that cover so they go on your website, or so that they continue scrolling through the rest of your email. The second thing you want to make sure you have is this abstract collage like flow. So there really isn't much structure email to email, like common structure email to email. Like I said, every email needs to be different from your last email, and you can do that if you follow a collage like flow. The third thing is minimal but entertaining copy. So the thing with the fashion industry, unless you are in a industry that is product features driven, like benefits driven, your customer will make a decision within a split second as to whether or not they are going to buy your product. And therefore, it is completely useless to talk about the benefits of your product again unless you are in an industry that is problem solution driven. And let's just say you are selling footwear that is still in the fashion industry, but it is solving a problem such as foot pain. Or if you are selling a beauty product, this part doesn't really apply to you, but keep your copy minimal but entertaining. Number 4, a color palette. So usually if you look at emails that are following the abstract email design approach, they like to stick to a certain aesthetic, a certain color palette, so that it looks and feels cohesive. The fifth thing is including GIFs. So in this email, the GIF was actually in the grid itself, where the image showed the front of the product and the backside of the product. Now, you can have a GIF of pretty much anything. This model could have been a GIF showing the backside version of the image or photo shoot and the front side. This could have been a GIF where the images were moving in a carousel like flow, but just make sure that you have some sort of movement in your email. I'm now going to show you 3 examples of abstract emails. So the first example is made up of a cover followed by 3 blocks. Each block is different from the next. So this first one has a ripped paper effect with some text and then the product image inside of a Polaroid type of photograph. This type of design sits very well with a Gen Z market. It's very collage like. And the second block is a 2x1 product grid. And then block 3 shows some jewelry in a 2x2 product grid. And it's just really to complete the look. The next example is, again, you have a cover, and then blocks 1 to 2 are similar, but they alternate. So as the viewer is scrolling, it's not too uniform. And then block 3 is a 3x1 grid, and then block 4 is a GIF. So this would be 2 to 3 different images inside of a GIF. And finally, here is example 3. So again, you start off with a cover, and then you have block 1, block 2, block 3, block 4. Each block has to be different from the next, and that is essentially the essence of the abstract email design approach, that as your consumer or customer is scrolling, they cannot tell what the next block is going to look like. And this is essentially what grabs their attention all the way to the end of the email, so that at one point in your email, they click and go to your website to hopefully make a purchase. Here are some more examples of abstract emails. These are all designs made by our agency. And as you can see, design quality is super high. Nothing about this conveys a cookie cutter approach. Now I want to talk about why this actually works and the psychology behind the abstract email design approach. So 99% of people online are functioning at what we call an unconscious state. We need to trigger their awareness so they shift into the conscious state and take action. But first, we need to talk about the concept of pattern interruption. Essentially, pattern interruption is having some sort of design modification in each email so that you are sending your customers something that they have never seen before, and it makes them almost confused and curious as to what it is that you've just sent them. Otherwise, they're going to be on autopilot mode if you keep using a cookie cutter approach. And the best social media content, emails, etc., all work because they implement pattern interruption. And this is even backed by data. Even small design modifications can yield major results. One test saw a 127% increase in email click throughs after redesigning the email layout using a more tailored design approach. And this is essentially what the abstract email design approach aims to do, to make sure that these design modifications that you are making email after email, and even within the email as the consumer is scrolling, each block is different from the next, that these design modifications are able to increase your email click-through rates, increase your email open rates, and therefore help you make more revenue from email and overall increase your store's revenue month after month with emails. The abstract email design approach helps you also cater to the different ways people like to consume content. Some people like text more, some people like images more, some people like videos more. And the abstract email design approach combines all of these three forms of consumption of content, where you can have text, images, and although you can't really have a video in an email, that's not really possible. What you can do is convert that into a GIF. And if you recall, that was one of the key traits of an abstract email, where you have some sort of movement in your emails. And the way you do that is by converting any video content that you may have into a GIF, especially if that was a video that did super well on, let's just say, your social media. And here is a quick before and after having used the abstract email design approach, so you can see the impact that this approach will have on your emails. We were looking at cover followed by basic product images, essentially a cookie cutter approach before, where it was super predictable, easy to ignore. It did not allow for any storytelling flow, emotional engagement, or that very important critical pattern interruption that you need in order to get people to click your email so they go on to your website and actually make a purchase. After having used that approach, where you have a incredible eye-catchy cover followed by a series of blocks, each different from the next, and a email that meets the 5 key traits of an abstract email, you now are breaking that inbox autopilot mode that your customer is going to be in when they are scrolling through their emails and opening them up. This encourages scrolling and it stimulates curiosity so that those click rates are high, the open rates continue to be high email after email, and you are making enough sales from your emails to the point where it is a very important revenue source in your business. And you can see the results that you get by implementing the abstract email design approach. We are doing this over and over again, and the proof is in the numbers. We're talking 90% plus average email open rate, 35% extra monthly recurring revenue because of emails, and 3% plus email click rate. And I hope this presentation made you realize the importance of email marketing and how effective it can be if you do it with a purpose and a proper plan. Because when done right, this can become your biggest business asset, boosting your profitability with data you already have at no extra cost. And if you are watching this, you are probably now realizing that you are not utilizing email to its full potential. So at this point, you have two options. Your first option is you hire someone from Upwork, and I do not recommend this because you will be severely disappointed by the results that will come about from Upwork work or any sort of freelancing work from, let's just say, Fiverr, for example. Option B is you do it on your own, but you are a business owner busy with no time for trial and error. You need proven systems right away that can start generating sales. Your business is unique and it needs tailored strategies, not a cookie cutter approach. Instead, you need experts who've already proven they can deliver results, And that's what we do at Persona eMarketing. So I invite you to book an email marketing audit call with me. Click below and you'll get to speak directly with me where I will show you some of your missed email opportunities. I look forward to speaking with you and helping you turn your email channel into one of your key revenue sources. Thank you.